New listener? Nice. Welcome to the greater Swole fam. Welcome to the Daily Swole fam. The Daily Swole fam. There we go. Love your content so far. Question: I've been brainwashed that red meat is terrible for you. You encourage it, right? Can you explain why? Yeah, there's a speak about misinformation. It's been demonized for decades. There's a great God, what the fuck is that book? What's that book by Nina Teichholz? What is that? Big Fat Lie? I would go check that out. There's a ton of content out there. There's also some great podcasts. She was on Safedine Amos's The Bitcoin Standard podcast, and I think the title was Fiat Nutrition. So they talked a lot about that as well. So it's just a long rabbit hole, but it's definitely been demonized. There's tons of faulty data, tons of just complete biased studies, manipulated cherry pick studies, big food interests that manipulated what science got released. And it was very, 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 very political. Shocker. Not much has changed. Not much has changed today.
Attacks on me, quite frankly, are attacks on science.
So the problem with science in the past and present is oftentimes scientists can have you're not supposed to, but science, when it gets crossed over to politics, have very big egos. And a lot of times they have to be right in many cases. And they manipulate studies or focus outcomes that go against their narrative or what they're trying to prove won't get published. And scientific journals have been known for decades to be very, very stringent on what gets approved. So if it doesn't, there's many, many more studies that ever get in journals that don't get approved for whatever reason. It might be because the research wasn't done properly. It could be because it wasn't conclusive enough or wasn't valid enough compared to other studies to make it into this month's journal. A lot of times those journals are 2 years in advance or behind because it takes so long for all this red tape and stuff to get through. And there's just a lot of private interests and corporate interests that back a lot of these studies. So a lot of the studies, just to summarize in general, and like I said, you can go in and check, or Big Fat Surprise or something like that, is her book. And that's a great place to start with that a lot of these studies didn't tease out and didn't isolate for grass-fed beef, proper lifestyle habits. They were just grouped towards processed meats. They weren't isolating for processed carbohydrates, vegetable oils, all these other confounding factors that are much more responsible for heart disease and all these other fucking issues. So there's a lot of issues from even the United States' health. The United States was fatter and less healthy than other countries, even back in the 30s and 40s. Oftenly referred to as the father of sports medicine, Dr. Hans Kraus. I think he was from Germany or Austria. I forget which one. He was talking about how kids in the United States were fatter, couldn't throw things as far, couldn't jump as far as kids in Europe. And this is back in the 30s and 40s. So if you think this obesity epidemic is brand new, it's not. If you think this lack of health is brand new, it's absolutely not. This is something that's been going on for decades. And that's what happens when you have a lot of, we have plentiful foods, and we have a very relaxed lifestyle here in the United States. You don't have to work in a fucking field all day. We have many Americans that do and that are farmers, but it's also monocrop farming. And if you're eating, let's say, grass-fed beef, it's high quality beef and it's great, fine. But if you're sucking down 2-liter bottles of Coke and you're drinking and you're eating all these, you're cooking it in canola oil and you're using all these sprays and environmental toxins and perfumes and phthalates and all these other issues, and you're burning your meat and you're cooking in carcinogenic oils, you're not going to be a healthy person. You're not getting sleep. You're getting 5 or 6 hours of sleep a night. Grass-fed beef isn't going to be or beef in general isn't going to save your life. It might actually be a part of the problem because of all the other confounding lifestyle habits.